Hi guys. Firstly, you have to excuse me. I'm absolutely full of cold. Yeah, glands are all swollen, earache, headache. Went to bed Friday night, slept right through Friday night, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. Got up Sunday night, felt crap. Anyway, that's aside. Back on diesel eater. I'm going to do a test. I'm going to try a test out. And I've looked on YouTube and I haven't actually seen anybody do this test. What they do is they tell you how cheap these things are to run. And I've no doubt they are cheap to run. I'm not questioning that. What I wanted to know was how cheap is it run compared to electricity, as in using the fan heaters. Now, you could say, well, 3 kilowatts this and 2 kilowatt whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that's all fictitious. So what I decided to do was use my timer and set a time going in the house with the GoPro pointing at my smart meter, showing how much money were on my smart meter and how much it uses. And then my plan is to come in here, you see, I'm still not sure, that heater up there, that Dimplex, I have a sneaky feeling it's 3 kilowatt, but it's only got 2 switches on it, which you'd think were a kilowatt each, but there could be 1500 watt each. I don't know, and we'll find out when I do this test how the current shoots up, because my plan is to set that running in there first of all, and then take some temperatures of this thermometer that's on here, this digital one, seat temperature in here, and then set something like, I'm going to say 18 degrees, it could end up being 19, I don't know, but let's say 18 degrees, so whatever temperature it is, I'm going to tabulate it. I'm going to set it running. I'm not going to put my diesel heater on. And first of all, I'm going to switch that big one on up there. We'll see what the GoPro says, how much it's gone up by. Then I can tell whether it's 2 kilowatt or 3 kilowatt or anything else. And then I'm going to leave it a few seconds so it's stabilised, because, you know, the smart meter is not instant. Sometimes it is. And I'm going to put this little heater up here, and I'm going to put that on, and I know that's 2 kilowatt. So I'm either going to be running 4 kilowatt or 5 kilowatt of heating. And I'm going to set it for 3 hours. I'm going to set this timer at 3 hours, start it going, and I'm going to run the system at 3 hours. Now, obviously, once it gets up to the set point, which I reckon is about 18, I'm going to turn that heater off and just run with this little one. And because that's got a thermostat on it, that hasn't. And it'll knock on and off and try and maintain the 18 and a half degrees, whatever it'll be, and try and maintain that from that time for a total from switch on to switch off of 3 hours. And in that 3 hours, I want to see how much my smart meter's used. Now, I know I don't use a great deal in house through the day. Yeah, there's just bits and bats. It usually shows 5p an hour, and when fridge kicks in, I think it jumps up to 11p, but fridge doesn't stay on for long, and then it's off for like 3/4 of an hour. It's quite an efficient new fridge. So that's like negligible. And see, basically, how much it costs to keep this garage, first of all, warmed up from a temperature up to 18 plus, and hold it there for 3 hours in total, and see what it's cost for 3 hours of eating. Then my next plan is to top that fuel tank up, mark it, fire that heater up, the diesel heater, without any electric heating, and do exactly the same experiment. Set it for 3 hours. At the end of the 3 hours, switch it off, get a measuring jug, and top my tank back up again to the mark we've put, and see how many millilitres or how many litres or how many gallons we've used. That's £69.46 on one heater. Then I'm going to give it a few seconds because it takes a while to jump that up, and then I'll flick the second one on and you'll see it jump up some more, I'm sure. Right. Nippy out there. Right, I've taken a reading of the temperature. That's what it is. 7.6 degrees. Small amounts of current. Right, it's been running nearly half an hour. Were it 136, 135 when I fired it up? It's up to 18.9. The 9th of the 1st, Monday, and it's 2:03. I've knocked off the big heater. It has got up to temperature, I would say, quicker. It's, well look, it's just bobbed up to 19. So I'm going to knock this stat now on here. To there. So we can, we're going to say 19, not 18. 135, it was 7.4 degrees. I've had both heaters on at 156 an hour, so it's only cost sort of half of that, hasn't it, so far? So at 2:04 PM, reached 19.6 degrees. It is now C. Okay, this is all to, you know, to keep everything honestly and recorded. So that heater's now gone off, and no doubt this temperature at some point will start to drop, and when it does, we'll get that to kick back in again. And we'll just try and keep that temperature. I said 18, but you know, I didn't realise how quick it climbed. Definitely climbed quicker than with the diesel heater on, which tells me, right, what does it tell me? That at 4 hertz, that diesel heater is less than 4 kilowatt, because I've got 4 kilowatt running there and it climbed rapidly. So at 4 hertz, it definitely isn't 4 kilowatt, but I don't think anybody ever said it was at 4 hertz. It'll run right up to 8 hertz, and it was preset at 5.4 when I bought it, I must admit. And it was hotter because I couldn't bear my hand near the outlet. £66.58. So it was 45 minutes. And I'm going to have to stop it at that because we're going out. Hi again. I've got my hoodie on. I'm not going to take it off because it's freezing in here. It's 7.8 degrees as you've just seen. So this is the second part of this little experiment. How it'll turn out, I don't know. But I'm going to fire my diesel heater up now. I've got no heating on here whatsoever. The electric heating, that's finished with. And I'm going to fire it up and I'm going to set a set point so that we can get this up to what the other one was, which was 19.6. I don't think for a minute it's going to reach that temperature in such a short time as the other one did, because the other one, I fired it off at 1:35 in the afternoon, and at 2:04, so like 30 minutes later, it had reached 19.6 from a start at 7.4. So yeah, I don't think this is going to blast it up that quick. I have turned the hertz up a little bit back to 5.5, I think it is. And I'm going to... Oops, I've lost my microphone wire. Fitted this, which is a flap which I can adjust. My idea being if I can damp that down a bit, it'll send more air to that other one. Whether it'll work or not, or whether it'll just push that open with the pressure, I don't know. So yeah, tank, fuel tank. I was surprised actually how little it took. I thought that can were nearly empty, and it's topped it nearly up to top. But we'll see. Right. You can see that, I'm not blanking it off. I'm only going to put a small mark because eventually I want to mark this up in litres. Okay, so that's our starting point, and in 3 hours time I need to fill that back up, and that'll tell me how much I've used, won't it? And I'll do it with a measuring jug. Leave that there. Okay, I'll get ready to fire up. Right, it's already crept up as temperature in here. It's amazing, isn't it, what your own body heat will do? It's my body heat that's brought that up, and I'm not hot stuff. 20:47 according to that. According to my watch, it's 20:48 and a half. Where will that stop? Right. Pro. No, on. You press these two together. That's it. So we're going to set temperature as set. I'll leave that at 25 for now because that'll keep it churning at full bore till I get up near my set point. I'll knock that back. Another thing I did do, I bought an extra one of these. A few people had advised to get two, so I've got one over in the corner. It needs a new battery because every now and then it pips at me, and that's the first alert one. So I bought another couple of these, ones for in-house because we've already got some in-house. I'm putting an extra one in-house, and I'm going to put this one up on the ceiling somewhere in here. So I've got two in here. It's not that sort of installation really. It's not a gas heater. If you remember, a lot of people were getting seriously injured, and unfortunately a lot of them died because they had faulty gas heaters. My dad used to have one in his shop, and it were over at sink, and it were a little heater what you turned on when you wanted to make some tea. And it was quite a tall thing, and it used to fire up. But the thing with them was, they had a flue to outside, but the air inlet to them were actually inside. It was just open vent. So if it got blocked up, your flue, you got carbon monoxide coming back, and that's what got a lot of people. Drafts, back drafts, badly fitted chimneys, coked up chimneys and all sorts. This system ain't like that. They don't have a vented system inside. The inlet vent for the air for the burners outside, and the outlet's through an exhaust pipe outside, as you all know. But if you don't, that I'm telling you, there's no chance of getting carbon monoxide inside your building unless your exhaust near your doorway and it's drafting, blowing it in to your doorway, and you've got your door open, I guess. Or if, say, the heat exchanger cracked. But I think if that happened, you'd probably know at some point that there was something wrong, because it'd get absolutely red hot, and they've got an overheat shut-off sensor that's clipped to the cooling fins on the outside of the heat exchanger. So if you had a fault of a cracked chamber, which meant you'd be going to get CO2 into your room, I think the thing had shut down. Not because it sends CO2, because it'd get that hot, but maybe I'm wrong and stand corrected. So I'm fitting another one, so just in case if it ever goes off, I know I've got a problem. It's going to be an interesting experiment. Stick with me. Let's learn together. Alright guys. Okay. Right guys. 2 hours 45 minutes coming up right now. We're at 19.2 degrees. The unit has been ticking over for about, I think it were an hour and a half or something before the temperature came up to full. But it's held it well, and to be honest with you, the temperature in here, well, it's stifling, it's too hot. But because I've put 2 vents in, and the electric heater were just sucking and blowing it from wherever it was, I spread the heat a lot better. The heat in the garage is right uniform, and I don't know if right at the beginning I mentioned that my legs and my feet were always cold. Well, my legs and feet are not cold now. They're okay, because we get a curtain of air across the floor. So what's left to do is to knock this off now, move the camera over. I've decanted some fuel into a container, and I've got a jug, and I've sort of put some ink marker on it so we can see the markings on it. Right, so I've put 500, which just tipped over 505. I don't know whether you'll be able to read this on there, but it's about 505 millilitres. Let's just double check. Yep. So I'm going to bob that in that tank and then see how much more it needs. And that'll tell us how much it's used in 3 hours. Okay, so that's half a litre, so it needs a bit more. Hang on, I'll put some more in. I'll do it in hundreds. Right, that's 100 millilitres. So 500's gone in. We're still not up to our line, so that's 600 millilitres. That's another 100. Are we up to our line? Yep, I marked it at the top of the fuel. Hang on, 700 millilitres of fuel we've used tonight in 3 hours. Okay guys. Right guys, time to wind this up. I hope you can hear me okay through, it's banging it down with rain. It's like a cat on an hot tin roof here. Figures. So we've done 2 tests. We've run on electric yesterday, day before. Yeah, I've been poorly, so I've been like in bed all day. Okay, so tonight I've come out, I mean it's now 11:45 at night. So we ran it on electricity, and I used my smart meter, as you'll see through the video, but this is just a conclusion of everything. Put the little GoPro onto my smart meter and a timer at the side of it and fired it off. And we ran it for 2 hours and 45 minutes in total. I couldn't get 3 hours because Bev asked me to go pick something up, so I had to go out, something from doctors or something. So I had to turn it off, so I stopped it there. Now, only difference is that I fired off at 7.4 degrees with the electric. And it was higher than that in here. It wasn't far off though. So let's say it was similar. Yeah, when I came in it was 7 degrees. but just my body heat in here must have raised it a little bit because it went up some, but you'll see on video, not hiding nothing. I just want to know for me as well as you. So we started off at 135 and the temperature at 135 was 7.4 degrees and I fired it off and by 2:04 it had reached 19.6, and what we did conclude was that the Dimplex heater is actually 3 kilowatt because it shot up did meter, which you'll see on the video, by 3 times the 31.74 or whatever it is per unit that we pay per kilowatt hour. And then so we worked it all out at 5 kilowatt. The cost of the electric for those 3 hours or those 2 hours 45 minutes came to £2.88, which worked out at 96 pence an hour it costs to heat this garage workshop on electricity. So then tonight I fired up the diesel heater, and at 1 hour 40 minutes, so this is the difference, at 1 hour 40 minutes it had reached 19.6 degrees, which is the same as with the electric, but the electric reached it in like half an hour. This took 1 hour 40 minutes to reach it, so it was slower to reach it, which again, obviously that is not kicking out 5 kilowatt. I'm only doing real world here, and tell me guys, if you think I'm wrong what I'm saying, please tell me, because I'm had 50 plus years as an electrician and doing all sorts of wild and wonderful control panels and things, but when it comes to maths I'm pretty shitty. But just tell me if you think I'm wrong. But electric kilowatts, 5 kilowatt, we knew it was 5 kilowatt because of the smart meter reading. We know it drew 5 kilowatt, and we know that in about a half an hour it reached 19.6 degrees, and we know that using the diesel it took 1 hour and 40 minutes to reach 19.6 degrees. Okay, so after 2 hours 45 minutes I knocked it off, fired it down, went over, as you've seen on the video, or you're going to see that I've topped up the fuel tank. I put a mark on it before I started. The mark was just on the fuel, and I've topped it back up to the same fuel as what it was, and it took 700 millilitres, 0.7 of a litre. Now that red diesel I paid £1.60 a litre for it. Now you could start out adding in, well, you to go and drive and buy it, and you to do this and you to do that, but let's just do real world figures. So after 2 hours 45 minutes we'd use 700 millilitres of fuel. The cost equals £1.60 per litre. Divide it by 10, it works out at 16p per 100 millilitres of fuel, and we use 700, which comes out at £1.12. So for 3 hours it cost per hour 37 pence to run that for 3 hours. It cost 96 pence to run electric. In total, with the electric it cost £2.88 for the 2 hours 45 minutes. So have I got that right? Yeah, 112. So it cost £2.88 in electric, and it cost £1.12 in diesel. So what we're looking at, 12, 24, 36. It's less than a, no, it's over a third. No, less than a third. Less than a third of the cost using diesel. 37p against 96p per hour. I don't think that's bad. So in conclusion to all this, but yeah, I've done it, and I'm glad I've done it, and it seems to warm the place better. It seems to be like more uniform. The electric heater seems to blast away, and then switch off, and areas are cold and my legs are cold and feet, and but this in, when I've got this on, it's lovely. So, and you can hardly hear it, it's so quiet once it gets up to temperature, and it holds it there. I found my sweet spot now is about 1.2 hertz. At 1.2 hertz it'll hold the temperature. Of course, depends on temperature outside. I've said this before. I'm going to compile this video and see if I can bang it on tonight, although it is 12:05 at night. Thanks for watching, guys. Please thumbs up, write a comment, it all helps. I've got nearly 1,000 subscribers, and you know, I just feel good about that. And hope some of my other subscribers watch and comment as well, which they always do. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.